Hello, and how are you today? Thank you so much for being here. And I have a share for you today that you're going to love. This is a friend of mine, someone else that I've had the opportunity to meet online. She is in Kentucky and she has a beautiful Kentucky accent. And you're going to find that Lesley and I have a lot of things in common and she has her own twist. So you need to hang in here and listen to this one because she has a lot to share with us about habits and how to make this time in life even better. So Lesley McShane is on a mission to help women discover that everything they need to create an epic and healthy second half of life already lives inside us. And as a podcaster, writer, author, and ACSM certified personal trainer, she wants us to prioritize our fitness. Can you imagine that, right? Prioritize our fitness and nutrition now, today, so that we feel better, live happier, and longer. Her podcast is called Redesigning Midlife, and it's in the top 1% of global podcasts, where she and her guests dive into the fact that it's never too late to feel amazing and everything we need to create an epic and healthy second half of life already lives within us. So, Lesley, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm truly, truly grateful.
I'm so excited to be here with you today. You've been on my podcast before, and you're going to be on my podcast again to talk about your new book. So I am very excited to be here with you on yours.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about life these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it
You
is.
make all these friends.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, so one of the things, like when people join my private Facebook group, they answer a few questions, and
Mhm.
one of the questions is like, "What holds you back?"
Mm,
And one of the main answers is no time, no plan, something in between, and oftentimes not really sure how to create the habits that they need to get where they want to go.
yeah.
You are pretty much the queen of that. And before we jumped on here, we were just like, I was just asking you a few questions. Like immediately you went into full on knowledge coach person. And you started talking about your fitness consistency muscle
Yes.
and quick wins. So tell us a little bit. What is the fitness consistency muscle that you talk of?
Well, I mean, like you, I have a Facebook group as well, and I kind of ask the same question. What holds you back from your best health in midlife? Because we get to this time in our lives, and how we feel today, our best today might not have been our best in our 20s or in our 30s. This is a singular time for us that we are working on our midlife health. And so many women are, they talk about they want to do something. They want to have better health, but they don't know how to do it, or they are motivated for a day or two, and then they're not, and then they can't do it anymore. I have an episode of my podcast that comes out every Monday. It's a little motivation to get your body moving that week. And it's just something because it's an external motivator to get you moving, because it's very important in your health journey to learn how to intrinsically motivate yourself, to be able to motivate yourself. And in order to do that, you have to create a consistency of working on something in your health every single day. That whether that's drinking your water, or um meditating, or being quiet for 5 minutes, being in nature, getting your vitamin D from the sun. All those little things that we can do for our health um help build a consistency of wanting to do more and more and more for our health.
Okay. So even though those things seem really small,
Very small.
you are a big proponent of, like, I like to tell people to start small, but you're like you're starting down there in the nano
Mm-hmm.
And you do believe that the more nano we do or micro we do, that the more it builds larger and larger consistency.
It's definitely much easier to build on something when you start really small, as opposed to taking a big chunk and trying to conquer something that you've never done before. We've all we all drink water, but making it a habit to drink the amount we're supposed to and doing it every day, day in, day out, and creating that habit, then you find another little thing. It's kind of like, okay, I need to go out and get some fresh air. So in the morning, I'm going to take my glass of water and I'm going to go outside and I'm going to be in the sunshine drinking my glass of water. So you're habit stacking. So you're creating these things. And while I'm outside getting some sun and drinking my water, maybe I'm going to sit down and I'm going to gratitude journal for 5 minutes. Then you're habit stacking on top of habit on top of habit. These little things and creating these routines, these routine habits for yourself, in your health and wellness journey will get you really, really far. So they seem really small and really simple when you take them apart, but when you put it all together and you're able to do it every single day, it becomes a sum greater than its parts, I guess.
Okay. So let's say somebody realizes that they haven't been drinking the water like they need to.
Mhm.
They haven't really been focusing on their um, keeping their stress or their, let's call it the nervous system calm.
Yeah.
So they go out, they drink their water, they do a little journaling or a little meditating or whatever. They're out in the sun. How long does someone have to do that before they're ready to bring on another habit?
You know, I think it depends on how much benefit you get from it right away. I mean, if you are chronically stressed and you force yourself in one day to stop for 5 minutes and you might get a big benefit out of that and know that you need to do, I feel really good after just that 5 minutes. I'm going to do that again tomorrow. You might see benefits like in a day. Um but like anything, habits are hard and it takes a while to build up that feeling of um my day is starting. This is what I am doing. I mean, at first you have to be like, okay, it's morning time. I'm going to go and do that. You have to really think about doing that thing. After probably, I don't know, 21 days, a month, it becomes part of your everyday routine. It's a no-brainer. You wake up, first thing you do is you go get your glass of water, then you grab your journal and you head outside and yeah. And then it gets to the point where if you're not doing that, something feels off.
Good point. Because I'm thinking, so this is a question, and could be people who are listening that have the question. I have the question. I notice that I have habits during the week because I work, and then I
Right?
have habits on the weekend. So
Yes.
if you're one of those, it's almost like task switching, but not quite. You can still call that a habit if you've got your weekly. This is what I do,
Sure.
and
Sure.
then on the weekend it's kind of like woohoo, wild it weekend, and then whatever your wild weekend is. Oh no, I didn't drink water all day. Um, and then you just go back, and so you can. That's still a habit, isn't it?
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. If I'm one of the things that I do, I post an affirmation Monday through Friday. I know that I'm going to do that Monday through Friday. The weekends, I don't do that. And I don't feel bad that I don't do that because that's not where I set that habit.
I see.
You
I
know,
see.
I work out, say 5 or 6 days a week. I always take Friday off. That is my rest day. So if I'm not working out on a Friday, that's fine. That's not my habit is not to work out on Friday,
Right.
you know?
Right. So, okay. So let's just talk about this real quick. A little off topic, but not totally. Um, you are a certified personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So just talk a little bit about rest, because not everybody, I am not a certified personal trainer, and not everybody believes me when I say, you know what, you need that rest as much as you need the movement.
Yes, absolutely. I'm an athlete. I have, raced bikes for many, many, many years. And one of the things that I learned early is that a lot of people who are working out or training for a sport, they have a tendency to overtrain themselves, where they feel like they have to be working at their highest capacity all the time. That's the only way they're going to get better, is if I'm pushing, 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 pushing. The only thing is, when you do that, you overtire your body. You get to a plateau that you can't break through. You get to a point where you're not going to get any better. In fact, you're going to get I can't think of the term,
Like
but
the
you're
law
going to
of
get worse
diminishing
over the time.
returns.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's very important to incorporate rest into your week. That way, if you're working out at a certain level and then you allow your body to rest, when you go to call on your body again, you're going to be able to reach even higher than you were before. And that's the way to continually improve.
Okay. So just, I didn't know this about you. Tell me a little bit
Hmm.
about your racing. This is cool.
Oh,
I had no idea. I don't know how I
yeah.
missed that.
Oh, no. When I was growing up, I always loved sports growing up, but I was never, thankfully, I went to a small high school. And so everyone was encouraged to play. There were,
Right.
there were no cuts. There was no cutting, thankfully. So I was always able to try different things. And it didn't matter whether I wasn't any good or not. But as I went into college, I always loved riding my bicycle. It was like being able to just get on my bike and be free and just pretend I was somewhere, or I was doing this, and have little routes that I would go on. I loved it. And I did that all through college. And when I met my now husband, he was racing bicycles. And I was like, I thought that was just the coolest thing I had ever heard of. Back then, the Tour de France, they would just have it on ESPN for a half an hour once a week,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Uh, but I went to a bike race with him and I was like, I can do that because of my upbringing and being able to try anything and without fear of failure. I was like, I can do that. And so I started racing bikes. So in between getting married and having children, I raced bicycles for about 16 years. I ended up being a national champion 3 times on the
Wow.
bicycle. Yeah.
Wow. Very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. And then as my children got older, they wanted to race bicycles. And of course, you can find soccer teams, you can find baseball teams and basketball teams, cycling teams there for kids. Not a lot of those around. So we found that there were a lot of other kids that wanted to do the same thing. So my husband and I, along with another friend, we started a youth cycling team.
Wow.
And yeah, and we had about 80 kids. We did that for about 5 years and had a lot of our kids travel to Europe to race for, Team USA. And so that was a really fun time. And during that time, I wasn't able to ride as much because somebody has to be what I called admin.
Right.
Somebody
Right.
had to, somebody had to run the team and make the plans and do all that. So, but after my kids left to go to college, when my nest emptied out, I was doing some running at the time because that's always really much faster and more efficient to do
Right.
than getting on your bicycle. And my husband was still racing and riding, and he would come home and I'd be like, well, who was on the ride? Who'd you see? What'd you talk about? He's kind of like, the kids are gone. Why don't you come back out? And so I started riding my bike again. And, it has taken on, I don't race anymore. Well, not much anymore, but it's more of my social time. It's my time to get my exercise, and it's time to be with my friends, my like-minded friends who
Right.
like being out on their bike. So,
How fun. Yeah,
yeah,
we do.
yeah,
We have a lot of cyclists that listen to the podcast. I know a
yeah.
lot of my clients are cyclists. I've cycled a lot in my life.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I've never raced. I've done like sprints. So within those, the got to get on your bike and move fast. But I've
Right.
never just gone out and raced my bike. Mountain
Yeah.
bike a couple of times, but that's it.
It's
So,
it's something. I actually I said I haven't raced much. I've only raced a couple times over the last few years, but I don't know if you've heard of the sport cyclocross.
of course.
Okay. Well, the cyclocross national championships are in my hometown this year.
Oh,
And I told my husband last year that if he bought me a cyclocross bike, that I would race, kind of in jest. Well, he went out and bought one.
oh, nice.
And so I have started training to race cyclocross this season. I've done one race so far. My second race is this coming weekend, and the schedule is the race schedule is pretty packed from now until December.
Wow, you'll have to
Yeah.
share photos. I want
Oh,
to put
yes.
those. I want to put those up with your podcast episode. How cool.
I
Yeah.
will. Half of me is very proud of myself because, I am preaching to other women all the time to move their bodies and go outside of your comfort zone. Even if
Mhm.
there's a little bit of fear, push through that, try something new. And I'm telling people that all the time. I'm kind of like, I'm sitting right here, I need to do that too, as much as anybody else does. And I'm not getting any younger than I am today. So I best
Well,
get,
you're
that
unusual.
I'm like, I best get on this thing. So I'm kind of like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, that's great. No, it
Yeah.
really is. Like I love pushing past comfort zones. Like
Sure.
for years, since I turned 30, I was always on my birthday trying to find things usually that scared me,
Yeah.
and I would push, I would do it. Um, Eventually I got to that point where I was like, maybe you should stop that whole scared me thing and try new things, right? Um, but but the fact that you not just walk your talk, you ride your talk, that's huge. It really is. I mean, I think it's such a big piece of what we do because it's so easy to be that person who lifts weights, eats well, sleeps well, checks all the boxes.
Right.
But when you take it that step further, and that step further shows what happens, right? It shows what happens when you take all those little teeny steps and put them
Yes.
together.
Hmm.
One day you go from drinking enough water and sitting in the sun to racing your cyclocross bike.
Right. Exactly. Oh, I love how you put that. That's so true.
It's
There's a starting point, and you you can do anything. You have to start small. Don't overwhelm yourself, but then continually build until you get somewhere where you want to be, and something that's going to challenge you. Yeah.
so, all right, a couple of things that come up for me on that. One of them is that sometimes people will say to me, I know you say we're supposed to start small, but I had this voice in my head and it's like, that's not enough. You need to be doing more now because you're running out of time and it's time to get moving and all the things, right?
Hmm.
What do you say to that?
Well, I say, imagine taking on too much, doing it for 3, 4 days, and then quitting because it's too hard to keep up with, not doing it for another 2 weeks, then maybe doing it for a day. I mean, you're not learning anything. You're not benefiting in any way. But if you're starting with 5 minutes and then you're doing, 5 minutes for a week, then you go to 10 for another week, and then you go to 15 for another week. then you have, in that same amount of time, you have built up a habit, you have increased the load that you are doing, the things that you are doing, and you're enjoying benefits that you wouldn't have gotten if
Mhm.
you had just taken on too much.
That's a really good point. So the benefits come from consistency,
Yes.
and they come from making sure that whatever you're doing is right for your body.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Yeah.
that's a big piece, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of
I
times
mean,
we're like, oh, well, I'll just go throw some weights around or whatever, right? Or I'll
yeah.
just go ride 25 miles. And then it's exactly what you just said. Now, all of a sudden, maybe, maybe your butt hurts or maybe you tweaked a leg
Hmm.
and you have to dial it back and start over again.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah,
all
for
right.
sure. For sure. Building up. I mean, you're not going to go out and run a marathon the first time you go out and do a run. You're not going to do it because you're going to get hurt. Well, first of all, you're not going to be able to do it. Second of all, you're going to get hurt. So part of building up in whatever thing that you're doing is that you are strengthening not only your consistency muscle, but you're strengthening all your other muscles as well and getting your body prepared for the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing so that you don't get injured,
Right.
so that you can continue. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you have to find something you enjoy. I mean, that's fitness should be enjoyed. It shouldn't be
You say that
torture.
as if it's a given.
It's not meant here to be here as a punishment. It is, if you are able to be fit, um, then, that is a gift, because there are so many people who would love to do things that you're capable of doing and they can't do it. And they wish nothing more than to be able to do it. And case in point, if you've ever been injured, say you're like, oh, I can't go on another run. I'm so tired of running. And then you go out and you get injured on a run. The first thing you think of is, when am I going to get better so I can go out and do a run again? You know,
I know.
the second that you feel like you can't do it, then that's the time that you want to do it. So yeah, fitness and being active and doing things, it's a gift. It's a gift that you've been given.
Wow. That's such a nice way to say that. I'm not sure if I've ever really said that actually, but you're right. Like,
Mhm.
and wherever it is that we're starting from, even if it's like super small, it is still a gift because we can build on that and then just keep adding, or not, if that's our
Right.
choice.
Mhm.
So, are you a big proponent of tracking? Like tracking what you're doing?
Um, I I don't know that. I think that if you are interested in your nutrition, you should be tracking, because there are a lot of things that go into your body that you might not be aware that are going to your, oh, I walked through the kitchen and I grabbed a handful of crackers. I didn't even think of it. So if you're thinking about, improving your nutrition, yes, I think you should track. Um, Fitness, I think you should just make a plan for your daily movement, and then you should do it. If it makes you feel better to
I
check
love
off
you.
each day, I mean,
You
if it
should
makes you
just plan it and do it.
just plan, well, I have an intention journal, and every day it's kind of like my daily movement plan is, and I write it out every morning. Now, I don't know if you call that tracking, as opposed to just saying, when you
So,
write it down, and while you're writing things down, you're actually reading them back to yourself.
right.
So it's more of an idea in your head. You're actually putting it down on paper and you're seeing it with your eyes, and it makes you more intentional to get it done.
Okay. Wait a second. Let's dive into, tell me about your intention journal.
Oh,
This is interesting.
okay.
Yeah.
Part of my morning routine is to sit down with my journal, and it's divided into different sections. I write out my mantra, which may sound kind of woo-woo to people, but it's the thing that I say that helps me start my day. I write 5 things that I am grateful for in that day. I write out what my monthly goals are every day. And then I write out what my daily intentions are that are moving me towards those monthly goals. And then I write out what my movement plan is for the day. And then I do a little paragraph of how I'm feeling today. What are the things that I'm struggling with? What are the things that I am happy about? What are the things I'm nervous about? And just kind of getting it all out. I don't sit for hours and do these things. I can sit down and write all of this stuff out in probably 10 minutes. And that's what I take 10 minutes in the morning to do. And it kind of keeps me grounded in what I'm doing and what I need to be doing to reach some of the goals that I've set for myself.
I like that. I like that. My journaling is very whatever I feel like.
Mhm.
And I like your structure. I like the structure because sometimes my journaling turns into whatever, and sometimes it turns into something interesting. But
Which can be
having,
good, which can be good too. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I could see a mix of both.
yeah.
And I know that sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I cannot listen to you talk about journaling anymore, Kelly. But I swear to everybody, like once you do it a little bit,
Yeah.
it it is a game changer. I can't even tell you why. For me, it gives me that point of start,
Yes. I can see that. Yeah, for
right? Like
sure. Mhm.
it's if I just come in and just do my day, I never feel like I had that moment
That
when I
check
went,
in.
yeah, okay, here's my point of start. I love though that, yours is a little bit more structured. And do you think, okay, so if you write down your goals
Uh-huh.
every day, or let's just say even for me, like my journaling may not happen on the weekends. So maybe,
Mine
whether
does
it's
not. I will tell you that. I don't
okay.
do that on the weekends, just the
Okay.
week.
So every day during the week, you sit down and one of your things is you write down your goals. Um, do you think that makes you move closer to your goals?
Yes, absolutely. For the same reason I was saying that just writing down what your movement plan is going to be, if you are continually writing out what your goals are, you you don't forget them. You see them every day. You're basically repeating them to yourself every single day. Um if you just wrote down your goals one day and in a week somebody said, well, we'll sit down and write down your goals again, you might be able to remember maybe one, and say you had 4, you might be able to remember one. But if you're writing them every day, they stay top of mind, so that as you're going through each day, little things that you need to do to kind of move you towards each one of those.
Or
I mean,
things that hold
yeah,
you back?
right. I mean, and it
Yeah.
can this might be a little intense for some people. I've been accused of being a little type A
Oh,
a
wait, no,
couple
no, you just
a
raised
couple
mics. That's
times.
okay.
But it takes just a few minutes to sit down and do, and it's amazing how much further you can get in the things that you actually want to do. Any of these things that we're talking about doing, drinking water, sitting out in the sun, writing in a journal, getting a little bit of fitness, these things don't cost you hardly any money. You don't have to have any talent really to do them.
Right.
Anybody can do them. These are no-brainer activities. You just have to get in the mindset of, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And then I'm going to do it the day after that. And then on the 5th day, I'm going to reward myself a little bit. and then I'm going to do it the next day. And then you start to see, you start to get a little mojo flowing, start to
Right.
seeing some benefits. And once you start to see the benefits of some of the habits that you've set into place, then you're kind of like, oh, well, yeah, definitely gonna do it now. It's part of who I am now.
Exactly. Exactly. When it becomes who you are, then it becomes like it's rote. It's so
Right.
simple to do, right?
Right.
You're looking for more.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, getting on and riding my bike today, it's not a question of if I'm going to do that. It's where am I going to go? Am I going to do a workout today, or am I just going to ride for fun? Am I going to do spins, where it's easy resistance, or is it going to be a little harder resistance? So yeah, the questions just change
Right.
the more you get into it.
Okay. A question about that, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty adamant about asking the people I work with to create a plan for the week.
Hmm.
Like, here's your week plan. You might have to move things around a little bit here and there,
Sure.
but going into your week, and when I say a plan, this is a movement plan. Do
Sure.
you have a movement plan, or are you more flexible? I just have to believe that you have to have a movement plan because you do weights, and weights have to
Right.
fit in there somewhere. So
Right.
tell us about your movement plan.
Well, yes, I do have a movement plan. I get up in the morning. I lift Monday through Thursday in the morning. You don't want to do back-to-back workouts. So if I'm like working legs, I'm not going to do legs on Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to do Monday and Wednesday, and maybe upper body Tuesday, Thursday. Or maybe I'm going to throw a little cardio in there, a little plyo workout or something, because, I do ride my bike a lot. And sometimes you want to do other exercises to work on your other joints and other areas of your body. So yeah, I'm gonna do that Monday through Thursday. Whatever that plan is that I decide to do. And then, I'm a weekend warrior on my bicycle. So, weekends are when I have the most time to get out to ride. So Mondays are going to be like an active recovery. So maybe I'll go for a walk, or maybe I'll go for just a short little, what they call a spin on your bike, where it's just easy and it's easy breezy, just going to the park, saying hi to people, for a little bit. And then, the older I get, I can't work out as hard many times during the week, because it takes a longer time to recover from harder workouts. So, Tuesday I might just ride by myself and do what they call push the wind, where you're the first one in the wind and you're riding by yourself. Wednesdays might be a group ride with some people where you're able to sit in a group, and it might be even faster than the ride the night before, but it's because you're not pushing the wind. Other people are pushing the wind. And then I usually ride with my husband on Thursday, and we'll do just a little ride, kind of an in between. Fridays, I never ride. I never do anything on Fridays. That's my day off completely. And then Weekend Warrior comes all over again. So now, as I get into this cyclocross season, there will be some cyclocross practices in there, and like you said, that's when things have to change. You can't control the weather. If it rains, then I'm not going to ride outside. Some people ride in the rain, or if it's too hot, uh, I won't ride outside. That's a little bit on the cray cray side for me. Some people will. I mean, a lot of people will still go out and ride their bikes. That's fine for them. That's just not for me. I'll stay inside and ride, say, like the stationary bike or something like that, or do another cardio workout or something. You just you have to have a plan, but you have to be flexible in that plan.
You do have to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think that maybe a difference between, and I'm just gonna use a random number here, but maybe a difference between like pre-50 or pre-40 and post is that I think there was a whole lot less flexibility when you're younger. You don't have that. you frequently don't have that flexibility built into your plan, your workout or whatever it is, probably because our bodies recover a little quicker.
Yeah.
And probably because we haven't even realized that that's a possibility. You know? And that we
Yeah.
really do
Yeah.
need that rest.
Right. Right. Yeah. You
You know?
haven't learned that lesson yet.
Yeah, and it's a great
Well,
lesson.
uh-huh.
You
Oh,
know?
well, and when you're younger too, I don't have the same responsibilities that I had when I was younger. When I was younger, I had small children or whatever. So I had an hour and that
Right,
was it. So it
right.
was like, I'm going to ride really hard for an hour.
Right.
I can't ride really hard for an hour anymore.
Yeah.
I prefer
Except when you're
not
racing.
to do that, except for when you're racing. Yeah, exactly.
Then you better do that.
Yeah, then if you don't, you're losing.
Oh, funny. So, okay. Okay, I have to laugh because you remind me of myself just a little bit. You'll be like, "Oh, yeah, well, that's all you do." And then it's like when I was talking to a client and she was training for something and I gave her schedule and she said, "The math doesn't work."
The
I went,
math.
"What do you mean the math doesn't work?" She said, "You just gave me," I don't know what it was, 8 things, and I'm supposed to do them in 5 days. I went, have you ever thought about doing 2 things at once on 1 day?" And she's like, "No."
Heaven forbid.
But it's
Yeah.
true. But that's
Yeah.
different though. That's when you're really training, pushing.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not a
yes.
requirement.
No,
Like,
no, no,
it
no.
comes all the way full circle back to the very beginning of what we were saying. Start small.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all different.
We are all different.
We all have different goals and what we're doing. Not everybody wants to go out and ride their bike as much as I do. That's
Right,
fine. That's what I enjoy doing. So therefore
right,
that's what I'm going to do. For everyone else it's kind of like, well, like you said, 8 things in 5 days. I'm kind of like, try to get in 2.5 hours in a whole week of resistance training and some aerobics. So that might be like 3 hit workouts and 3 half-hour hit workouts and 3 half-hour lifting sessions. Well, that's 3
3
hours, not two and a
hours.
half. So that's 3 hours. That's 6 workouts in a week. That's plenty to do.
Right,
Um, you could even double them up, do a hit workout and a resistance training workout in, 2 workouts in one. Then you're only working out like 3 days a week and you're resting on the days in between. 3 hours out of your whole week, 24 hours in each day, and you're giving 3 hours out of your whole week. That's not a lot to ask anyone, I don't think. I don't think that's a lot of anybody to ask their owner for,
right,
you know,
right.
because your body wants it. Your
Your body
body,
wants it and the results and what you're going to get from it downstream, right? The downstream is so
right?
big.
Your body is going to reward you for giving it what it needs, the
Yeah.
little bit that it needs.
Yeah. I mean, I always like to tell people when they're first getting started, I'll be like, move a little now so you can move a lot forever.
Right. Exactly.
And that's it.
Every day of investment that you put in right now, you're going to get tenfold in 10 years.
Mhm. That's so true. Wow. So we went all over the place. Um
I'm good
First,
at that. So,
I love that. First, we're like, well, we want to start really small, like drink some water. And now we're like, and then go race cyclocross. And
no, no, the possibilities are open to anybody. I mean, if somebody were like, okay, I got to start small, but I do want to race cyclocross, then you got to make a plan for that. I mean, it's not going to
Right.
happen for you this year. Make it a year-long plan, make it a year-long goal, and then start today with
Perfect.
doing your 5-minute little habits and building that consistency muscle. And then, in 2 months, add in jumping on your bike for, 20 minutes, and you build from there, whatever it is, build towards that.
Yeah. So I'd like to, like anybody listening, or everybody listening, actually, everybody listening right now, I'd like to maybe throw out a little bit of a challenge to you,
Ooh,
right?
a
Nothing like it,
challenge.
nothing like a good challenge, even though I never say the word challenge. I'm always like, well, let's just do a little experiment. But why we can call it a challenge or an experiment, but look at something that you would really like to do. And instead of saying, okay, well, in 2 months, I want to do this big thing, give yourself time and give yourself a plan, and make that plan start with something simple, build just gradually, like Leslie's mentioned, and then use use the Leslie formula. Give yourself a year. A year seems like so long. And then if you look back, oh
Oh,
my gosh,
it
like a year was
flies.
just just last week.
Yeah.
And and really say, like, if I was to give myself the time to do this, what's the thing that I really want to do?
Mm. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What's the thing? And don't listen to that voice in your head that says, well, 20 years ago, I could just get on my bike and, ride 20 miles. Don't listen to that voice. Listen
No.
to the voice in your head that says, you know what? This is my life, and I'm going to make it the best possible life I can. And I'm going to take care of my body because it's so friggin' amazing.
Yeah.
What do I want to do?
Yeah. And I would add to that challenge, because a lot of people are kind of like, all right, I'm going to set this goal. And then they put it off and put it off. And then it gets to 6 months to do it. And then they think they're going to be, no, you have to start like immediately. Don't wait. Don't think that you can get to this thing. If you push it, push it, push it, you can do it in the last month. And your goal should never be to win a race or finish first, or whatever it is. The goal is to start whatever event it is. And then the second goal is to finish the event. If you do those two things, then you're a winner. You've won.
And can I add a third one?
Sure,
And
go
have
for it.
fun doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Make it as much fun as possible.
Well, it's about the journey. It's not
It
about the
really
thing.
is.
It's about everything that you learn about yourself along the way.
Yeah. And if you listen to this podcast all the time, I've told this story on myself before, but I'm just going to do it. Last year, I had signed up for a 25K. It was a trail run, but I'm not a runner. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, I'll just walk this really fast.
Oh, that's hard.
And life happened,
Right.
and Kelly didn't. Kelly didn't train, but she
Yeah.
just showed up.
Oh,
I did it. It was painful though. I will give you
yeah.
that. The fun
Yeah.
the fun factor was slipping on that one a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I've done the same thing and ended up with plantar fasciitis.
right.
Yeah.
So I got lucky. I got super lucky, and
Yeah.
nothing tweaked out. But at the same time, my brain went, Kel, you can't just dial it in anymore.
Yeah.
And you're smart enough not to. Obviously not right now, but you should be smart enough not to. So if we also add to this whole thing, Leslie's write your goal every day,
Mm-hmm.
then it's in your face, right?
Every
Like
single
for
day.
myself, it wasn't even a goal. Like it was like oh, of course I can do that, whatever. If I had written down every day, I'm going to do that 25K, and it's coming up in, I think it was like 4 months when I signed up or whatever. If I'd written that down every day, I would have shifted what I was doing
Mm-hmm.
to incorporate my training for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's take a page from Leslie's journal. Okay. I'm just having too much fun chatting with you, and I think I better wrap it up. Let me ask you this. Is there anything you would like to pass on? Anything we haven't talked about that you want everybody to hear? Anything you'd like to share?
Oh, let's see. Well, first of all, I hope that I haven't come across as being too intense.
There is nothing wrong with being intense.
But it is my absolute goal and mission to fire up as many women in their midlife as possible to get moving. There is no reason why you shouldn't be moving your body because of all the reasons that Kelly talks about on her podcast. I mean, it's kind of like it's a no-brainer, really. It's not should I move? It's like how should I be moving and how much should I be moving? Those are the questions
There
you
you
should
go. I
be
like that.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to realize how much power that they have. There's so much lack of confidence around being in midlife. I don't want anyone to feel like they are lesser than because they are older than they used to be and maybe have to change the way they do things. Um, you're just as powerful as you ever were. You're just you're just powerful in a different way. You have so much experience that you have gained over the years. And we want you here for a long time. So take care of yourself.
I love that. I love that. And I would say, you know what? We might be even more powerful
I would
than
say
we've
so
ever
too.
been. I feel
Yeah.
more powerful than I've ever been.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, where tell us all the things. I'm going to share all of, how to find Lesley. I'm going to share all the things in the show notes. But for those of you listening who just want to just dive in, tell us where to find you.
Well, my podcast is called, like you said earlier, it's Redesigning Midlife. It's where I am focusing on helping women prioritize their midlife health and wellness so that they can be happier today and live longer. We love both of those things. And then everything that I have going on is obviously at my website. That's LesleyMcShane.com. That's LesleyLMCSHANE.com. So every place that you can find me is there, or I'm on Instagram at the same Lesley L. McShane. Come find me. Come say hi.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for being here and good luck on your races.
Thank you. I need it.
I know you don't. You'll be terrifying those people.